everybody. Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to my channel for another episode of Creative Visions TV with me, Karen Dahlman, as your host. And so today we have a really cool show because I'm going to make an announcement here with my guest, Jessica Potter, also known as the Mermaid Medium. Yay, Jessica! Thank you for coming back to the show.
Hi, everyone.
It's good to see you again.
It's awesome to see you again. Miss you already.
I know. We just saw each other. It was in Michigan. We did Michigan Paracon this last year.
Right? It all blurs together.
I know it blurs together, but we talk on the phone. We're good friends, you guys. But listen, we have something to tell you because Jessica's coming to Arizona in April, right?
Yep. We got something big going.
Okay. Spill the beans.
Okay. So we're going to be doing Tombstone Paracon at the end of April. I can't remember the exact dates.
It's April 26th to 28th.
Yay!
We're so excited.
So we have a lot going on there. We're going to have speeches. We're going to have panels. We're going to have ghost hunts. We're going to have workshops. There's going to be a whole lot included and going on. And me and Karen are actually going to be teamed together for some of the events, and it's going to be really exciting.
I'm really looking forward to that ghost investigation that we're going to do together. That's going to be a blast. Okay. Yes. So you're going to be teaching there. What are you teaching?
Mediumship. So this is going to be open for all levels. So I'm going to go over many different things, anything from psychic going into mediumship, what the differences are between it. And I always like to include in my workshops, like one-on-one practices, and there were some curveballs in there because then you get to not only learn the information, but practice it and then learn how your mediumship works. Because all of us have these abilities, just to different degrees and different strong points and areas that you have built into you. So yeah, that's how I like to do my workshops. So we're going to touch on many different areas of mediumship and then go into playing with it and seeing what we get in Tombstone, which, you know, It's got crazy history.
It really does. Well, let me tell you a little bit about that history, you guys. So Tombstone actually was founded back in about 1877. This is how the story goes. There's a man named Ed Shufflin, and he was out at Fort Huachuca, which is actually Camp Huachuca then. And he was talking to his guys there. He's a scout. He's looking for stones and rocks, you know, like he wants to hit it big with some kind of precious metal. And he decides he's going to go out scouting and prospecting towards the Dragoon Mountains. Well, his fellow scout said, the only rocks you're going to find is going to be your own tombstone. So Ed Shufflin struck it rich and found the silver there. And he decided to name his mine Tombstone. That's where the name comes from, you guys. It's kind of cool. But word traveled far and wide about what he was finding there. And all of a sudden, within 3 years, a huge town struck up named Tombstone as well. And they had dance halls, brothels, saloons, gambling spots. I mean, it was a boom town, and they were finding millions of dollars worth of silver. It was crazy. It was just in the heyday. But that town went within 7 years from 100 people to about 14,000 plus, just in a matter of 7 years, you guys. This is how this town just boomed. Now, you know, famous names from there like the Earp Brothers. You know, probably Doc Holliday, the OK Corral, the gunfight there, Big Nose Kate. You probably heard of the Birdcage Theater and Boot Hill Graveyard. Listen, its population now is about 1,300, and it's known as the town that is too tough to die. And we're going to be there April 26th, 28th with a bunch of other really cool guests as well. And, you know, Jessica, I'm going to be teaching there as well.
What are you teaching?
I know. I can't wait. So I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to be going into the history and some really cool facts about the Ouija board, as well as people who used it, how they used it. You guys, the Ouija board, as I talk about here often, is not just for the dead. You can use it for many other reasons, other ways, other kind of sentient beings. I'll get into that in my talk. And then I'm also going to teach Jessica, it's going to be a 90-minute workshop on how to use the board. Use the board, how to use the board for like mediumship, but also how to use the board to communicate with other energies around you.
And your loved ones.
Yes, exactly. And what's going to be fun about this is that you're gonna have a chance to use it. I have Ouija boards. If you don't have your own, don't worry. I have them. I'm bringing them. Look at all the boards I have. I have, you guys, like 85 boards. And so I'll be bringing a bunch of boards for us to use if you don't have yours. But if you have one, bring your board. And then we'll get into all the tools and techniques and tips and tricks I have to use in this tool to get it to work. And what I like to do at my workshops, I actually like to sit down with each of you, or at least come around and work with you in a partnership so you can see how the planchette moves and what it feels like when it moves, so you can actually try it on your own eventually. But you could also use these techniques when you do your own investigations at Tombstone or back at home. So it's going to be a lot of fun, you guys. I'm really looking forward to this. I know Jessica is. Plus, you guys, I live in Arizona now, so it's not too far for me to go. And I look forward to seeing Jessica and a lot of my other friends and the paranormal that will be there as well.
Yeah, and one thing about like her workshops, it's really cool because I mean, we got spoiled in 2022 because we got to go to the UK together,
Yep.
Virginia, and then Michigan, and now it's like it's weird only seeing each other like every few months. It's like we pretty much got to live together.
I
But one
know.
thing about her workshop is like, remember at the end of like when we get done with the events, they'd say, "What was your favorite part?" And there
Mhm.
was so many like touching stories where people had their loved ones
Mm.
come through, or they had no experience with Ouija board. You know, they were scared of it or they had a lot of fear around it. But it's like everyone had like really big breakthroughs, you know. And me coming from a religious family, that was one thing I was taught not to mess with. So I had like my own, like, you know, fear around it and knowing I'm a channel. But it was really cool, like hearing people's stories like mine, where they just came out looking at completely differently, and the way she guides you with that, it's, I don't know, it was just really cool like hearing. So I'm looking forward to like
Excellent.
especially what you get in Tombstone, because if
Oh,
you guys hadn't been there, the energy is just like off the charts everywhere in the town, like you just feel it all over. There's so
yeah, it's
many
amazing, you guys.
stories.
Okay, so Jessica, you've been there several times. And tell the audience about this, because you've had some experiences, and you were kind of like you said, your addiction started there with.
Yes. Oh gosh, my whole paranormal addiction started with Tombstone. So like I've always had a curiosity for the paranormal. Like I said, I grew up in a religious family, so like I couldn't explore it too much, but I'd watch the TV shows, things like that. But in 2012, my husband's family is from Tucson, Arizona. So I went back there to visit, and we went, my sister-in-law, her friend, and me went to Tombstone because it's only like a 2 hour drive. And it just, yeah, it, getting to do the ghost hunt birdcage theater, it was
Mm.
just an insane night of activity because it was just a quiet night. Like we were the only three there. So we got done with 1 2 hour ghost hunt. It was so active. The lady was like, "You guys want to do the next one?" Because she was just gonna leave it. So I was like, "Yeah." So we stayed another 2 hours, 3 hours, I think. But it was just like unreal. Like they were knocking on the hearse, like answering questions. And you know, that's the hearse from the famous gunfight that carried him
Yep.
to the graveyard. And then there's like we'd ask which one, you know, who was there. We had like where we kept smelling like lavender, and then it would switch to like a lilac smell, and then you would feel them like blow on you, like almost like they lean in, like blow on your ear. It was like, it was just
Oh,
incredible. We heard them
wow.
running and laughing up like where you can't even go upstairs, like where the, you know, the soiled dove
Mm.
rooms were. We heard like a woman running and laughing, and it was just like, it was incredible. But we were asking for validation, like, you know, who's here with us. And one of the paintings, I think her name was Maria, like a famous prostitute there, her painting, which is enormous painting, picked up and slammed against the wall and bounced. And when we played the recorder back, she was
Wow.
answering at the same time. She said Maria, and then you hear like her painting like start slamming. Like it's just, it's incredible. The
Well,
whole
they say
town.
it's very active there in the Boot Hill Cemetery. I mean, and Shefflin
Yes.
Hall. I mean, there's what you guys, if you come out to this event, you're gonna have an opportunity not only to be with the speakers in the workshops during the day, but at night we're gonna be doing investigations. So it's
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, and
And it's going
Sunday.
to be spread out. Like you can go to,
Oh
there's
yeah.
all different areas. Like you're going to be hitting all the hot spots of the town, you know,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's not just like the shootout. And it was pretty cool. Like when I was talking to him about setting up where we're going to be for the ghost hunt, they were trying to figure it out. I was like, I keep feeling like outside it's near the OK Corral. And I'm like, I think it's the street back behind, but I'm feeling
Uh-huh.
more gunfights. And she was like, yep, that's where we're
That's
putting you. That's
that's where
the
they're putting
area. And I was
us.
like, okay. I was like, yep,
Choo
I'm
choo choo
already
choo
getting stuff.
choo.
So it's fun. And me and Karen, when we're together, like, even though we've had our separate groups on ghost hunts, we've
Uh-huh.
always ended up like being kind of close to each other. And
Uh-huh.
it's just really cool. Like she was working with the boards at Virginia, and I
Oh
was
yeah, there's a lot of
upstairs, but
activity, and you were above us,
it
I
had a
think.
big balcony that was
Yep.
open. And what was incredible was like you could hear like when she started teaching and then went into opening the boards, and then my EVPs like on the recording just took off. We had like a male singing coming through,
That's
and then you could
crazy.
hear Karen like talking about what was coming through in the board, and it was like coordinating with what I caught. It
Yeah.
was the coolest thing. So it's like, yeah, and we're just both goofy and wild and just we
We have
are who we
fun.
are. So I think, yeah, somehow like together, it's just like goes to like, okay, these are cool peeps,
Well, you know
to come
what?
hang
As
out.
I always talk about in this channel, you guys, the spirit loves the energy. It loves when you have a higher vibration, and they do like laughter and humor. So I always bring that. Jessica brings it. That's our A game.
Yeah.
We,
We're
we
just
can't help
goofy.
it. We just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a blast. So I hope you guys decide to come out. All the links to this event will be below. Everything we talk about today will be below, but and that's about the video
Yeah.
section.
And we got a good group of people. We got like all the funny,
Oh,
good people. We got Richard Estep, the author. If you've read any of his books, like you know how good he is. Greg Lawson, him
the
too. Like
paranormal
he's
detective.
always a blast. Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
Aaron Sagers coming out. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Amy
Amy
Bruni,
Bruni, you
like
guys,
it's gonna be a good one.
it's good. It's a great lineup. I think do you know what I like about it? We all do such different things in the paranormal. I mean,
Yes.
we've got it all the way from, mediumship to psychic abilities, then all the way down to tools like the Ouija board. We've
Hmm.
got a little bit of everything. And so it's just going to be a blast. So you guys, this is an opportunity to check out this ghost town. There's a lot of ghost towns nearby, but this is the big one, Tombstone. Check it out if you have not been. You
Yeah.
could fly into the Phoenix airport or the Tucson airport. From Phoenix, it's about 3.5 hour drive. From Tucson, a couple
So worth
hours.
it.
It's so worth it. There's places to stay in town, and come on out the 26th, 28th of April, and we'll see you there.
I got
Woohoo!
actually one cool pointer and tip.
Yes.
So across from Boot Hill, I want to say it's a Holiday Inn Express. I can't
I
remember.
can't
I
remember.
want to say it's Holiday Inn Express. So Boot Hill Graveyard's right here. Then you got the road coming into Tombstone, almost at Tucson. And
I know.
across from it is that hotel, which is I would highly recommend jumping on, getting your
Now,
reservation there, because
now.
what a lot of people don't know is the train tracks are back behind that hotel. And so when I go there, that is one of the most active hotels I've ever
Uh,
stayed at. And they're very cool. They're so used to seeing spirits there, like all their staff, they'll tell you stories about it. Like there's times where
oh
they've
yeah.
checked in spirits. It's really cool. So I would recommend staying there. You're definitely going to have an experience there. And you might even be able to take back the tools that you learned from Karen or us and, play in your room. It's really
Oh,
awesome.
I absolutely agree with that. That's a great tip, you guys. So come on out. We'll see you there. It's gonna be a fun time. So look, hey, so now we got to catch up with Jessica too and see what she's been doing. I know you've been very busy putting together classes and courses that you're doing. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm finally writing.
Yay.
So for years I've been working on documents and like getting everything together. Gosh, so much has gone on this last year. So I had like a big hiccup in my health, a lot of long COVID health issues. I don't know if any of you know what POTS is, but it's a thing where your heart can go nuts, your blood pressure drops. So I ended up getting some symptoms from long COVID with that. Went through a period of being like inactive for 4 months, like bedridden. So I've been on this big health journey. And the whole time I was like, I just want to write. I just want to write. I want to get back to writing. I want to get back to writing. It just makes you look at everything as like, I can't wait to be back teaching. I can't wait to be back writing. So as soon as I was better, I got up and I jumped in on writing my books. So I got my two first books like published this last year, and they're to start, I'm going with ones for my courses. So I'll show that real quick. Got
Excellent.
mediumship development one, And this is like a workbook. So if it goes with my class, but you don't have to take my class, take it. So I got the schedule, but it goes over breaking down each
Oh,
area
that's excellent.
and to
So
grow your
people can buy
mediumship.
that now on Amazon? Is that where it is?
So you can buy it on Amazon or you can buy it directly from my website. So
Okay, and I'll give
Star
those
Love
links.
Clarity,
Okay.
yes, starloveclarity.com or the mermaidmedium.com. And
Excellent.
then I,
Now, I gotta say something. I took one of her classes. I took one of her classes in Virginia and I was blown away, but not just what you taught us, the really cool
oh,
stuff, but your ability working the room when she was doing the gallery readings and the specifics that came through was amazing. So if you
oh,
want to
thank
know,
you.
if you want to learn some really good techniques, and we're gonna have her teach us a little technique in a moment here. But if you want to learn some really good techniques to take your mediumship to another level, or even just to begin developing your skills, check out our classes. I mean, you do it online, right?
Yes, so I do it online. So what you took, I did like an in-person workshop that is
Yeah.
actually one practice I teach. So I took just one chunk
It was
of what I
great.
teach in my class because I load in as much as I can. And I don't want anybody coming in worrying that they're not too experienced or that their mediumship is, I'm going to say, no, you're teaching it wrong. You teach it this way. We are all designed differently on and that for a purpose. So what I do is I like to open you up to what you're capable of that you might not know or how to work in different areas. So in my course for the mediumship, it's 8 weeks long and I hit many different areas. And I sit there and I focus and I like meditate and see like each group of students I get, some want to go into working missing person cases. Some just want to learn about mediumship because they help they might be an RN or something like that and help people cross over to the other side. So they're trying to understand it. So it's like all walks of life, whether even if you don't want to become a reader or you're fearful of mediumship or the abilities you have, it helps to like learn more about it. Believe it or not, it like takes away that fear because then you better understand it and it's not so scary. So I do, it's self-paced where you'll log in, you'll have a certain area of my website, you'll log in, you can watch the pre-recorded
Ah,
content on each
okay.
section and go back to it. And then we vote at the end of the week and we set up a live time that works for everyone. It tends to work out pretty well. Like I have it where you can vote on multiple days, multiple times. And then we meet up and do the live class where it's like you take what you learned and we go into practices. And then there's a lot of bonding. You're also part of like a private group I have on Facebook. So if
Oh,
you want,
okay.
you need a reading, you're going through something, or you're wanting to practice, there's ongoing practices there. So it's like you have a lot of support, you meet a lot of people, and it's fun and it's really cool. I've even gone to like working gallery readings with some of my students. So like in 1 year, one of my students went from knowing nothing about mediumship to doing gallery readings with me. So
It's
you never
awesome.
know where it can take you. You know, just trust it. It's a lot of fun. So I have that one actually just opened up yesterday, January 25th, but I still have room for 5 more spots and you'll
Okay.
have time to catch up. It is definitely all self-paced and you can take it again. So like say I teach in 6 months again and you want to join back in or life gets in the way and you couldn't keep up with courses, you can jump right back in, join any live practice as much as you want. It's open for you to just continue to take it as many times as you want. So that's how I like to be because, you know, our lives are crazy.
It
We
is.
all have so
Yeah.
much going on right now. And then my cards class, that is February 10th. And that one is 4 weeks long. That is the second book I did.
Oh, look at
And
that
in this,
cover. That's neat. Is
isn't
that a
that
crystal?
pretty?
Yeah, very pretty.
I love
Ah,
it. So
that's
this
awesome.
course, there's a lot with like where people take card classes and it's all about memorizing. So I touch on cardmancy, which is playing cards, oracle cards, and then tarot cards. And so I kind of like work you through each section and have you look at a different way of learning it, a different way
Hmm.
of not memorizing things, not going by the book, but going by what your intuition teaches you.
Mhm.
And you'll get a lot of information from playing cards. People don't realize like how much you get. So this
That's
is
great.
the guidebook that goes with that. So I have like different spreads and we work with all of this in the class. Then I have quick read sheets the positive and negative. So like if you're reading somebody or you're playing with your cards, you can open this up and lay it out and quickly read. And then the more you work with it, the more it sticks with you. And my whole point of this class is and I even have it for cartomancy. My whole point of this class is when you make it fun and you put your own personal energy on it and memory, the more you work with it, the more like it just clicks. It just
I agree.
clicks.
I agree.
So
I
then I
love the
go
way
into
you teach it.
go into depth, even color symbolism, number symbolism, because all this has a lot to do. And then at the end, I have some meditation notes, reading notes, give you some questions.
These are
to
some
look
intense
into.
workbooks you've created here.
Yeah.
You did. That's
Even weekly
great.
reading. Like you can even bond, people don't realize this. You can pull cards for your week.
Mhm.
Like what's the main energy of each thing. And so before you know it, it's teaming that emotional side with the intuition with the card. And then you're just leaving out the book. You'll get the meaning on your own just by experience. So that's how I teach that class. And again, it's fun. I have the interactive same setup as the other one where you go in the group and you can do 3 card readings in there, practice on other people, or if you are going through something and you want some clarity, you can ask other students. I really love like the bonding that goes on in my classes. That's one thing I'm really proud of, is like having a safe space to go and even ask your questions,
and to practice, and people are going through it as well. So you can buy this book if they want. They can purchase. They don't need to take your class unless
they do not need to take the class.
Okay.
Yep. So you can buy
they
that
can
directly.
take your class, and you probably require the books in the class, I'm assuming.
I don't require it. Like I
Okay.
even have options if they want, like if you're taking my class and you want to get the book, I do have like a download version. Say if you want money towards that. And I need to mention my prices on the class because I have right now my mediumship class, it's normally $350 because it's 8 weeks and it's, there's a lot to it. But right now, because the economy sucks,
Yeah,
I'm doing $150 because
wow, seriously?
Yes, because there's so much that like spirit has been just telling me, like people need this connection right now. Like we're all in survival mode. We're all going through a lot energetically. So the biggest thing I want people to take away now is like keep your connection, spirit, grow this area because they're gonna help guide you through everything else going on. Like it's so hard being human and then having like this spiritual side. So that's why I was like, right now, I just feel like this is how it needs to be. We need to stick together. We need to bond, and we need to keep that connection, to God source. And then my learning to read cards course, that one is $111. So that one's normally $199, but I was like, I'm gonna give that some angel number energy because
111. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
It's lots of interesting, good stuff coming up for you. I'm happy about your books. I know she's been talking to me about it for a few years now. So congratulations again on that. And you guys, all the links will be below to her website, to the Tombstone Wild West Paracon, everything we're talking about. Okay, so now I would love if you would share anything with the audience that I think you have a technique that might help them develop some of their abilities that you guys can do right now and implement now and use it on your own at your own home.
Yes. So like I said, like all of us have these abilities. It's just to different degrees in it. It's just the way the information connects to you differently. So my strongest advice when I'm working with people that are new to working with their abilities is just start being aware, start paying attention to that little voice. Because some people think it's like Hollywood, how they make it all dramatic and really intense. It's not always like that. It's really subtle changes. And if you're an empath, you're going to realize like you hate places like Walmart or places that are crowded, and you might not even know why. But it's as subtle as that. You sometimes can't quite pick up on it. So one of the biggest things I recommend for if you're going on investigation or even in your own home, if you go out to run an errand, do what I call a body check-in. So, like your pains and your symptoms you normally get, because many of us are clairsentient, which is where you feel physical pains in your body, or sometimes you'll have clear empathy where it's emotions will lay on you, but you don't realize most of us think it's our own. So when you know your own pains, like from a car accident, I have a headache. So I pay attention to that. I'm like, it's normally there in the background. I always got stomach stuff going on with celiac disease, so it's like I kind of know my pain. So you do a check-in, you kind of see where your pain's at. And then if you're on an investigation, then you pay attention to what else comes on. Because the
Mhm.
longest time before I realized I was medium, I always had Tylenol like in my ghost hunt bag. And I would always wonder, why do I get such an
Oh, a
intense headache? Or
headache.
like,
Ah,
yeah, why
okay.
is my back hurt? Why, I
Ah.
wasn't realizing it was intuitive information. It was mediumship connecting to me. So I recommend doing that quick check-in, just seeing what's going on in your body, being like, that's my pain. Just kind of make note of it. Today I have, my headache's up a little bit, or my knee's been acting up. That's mine. And then see what else like kind of folds into you. Same with emotions. So your mind is like a Rolodex. So they use like memories you've been through, experiences you've
Mhm.
been through. They use movies, and sometimes they'll flash that in your mind. You may see it visually. You may just get a feeling about it. You may just like remember a pain or anxiety or emotion that you had around a situation, but that's how they communicate with us. So I'm not only going to have you do it on like the physical side of your body, but also like the emotional side. See how your mood changes. If you don't like the feel of a room, what is it reminding you of in there? Did you have any memories come up of, something that just kind of dropped in your mind that you
Mhm.
hadn't thought of in a long time? Because most time they're like teaming that information, like you've been through this and a situation like this happened in this room. So there's a lot of ways that that information drops in our mind. So that's what I recommend starting out with. And yeah, just paying attention to that and working with that, and journaling. If
Oh,
you
that's one of my
can,
favorite
write it
things.
down. So because you forget it. It's kind you're if you've ever seen studies on mediumship, psychic abilities, you go into a dreamlike state. The more you're in between those
Mhm.
waves, that information flows in. So you'll forget a lot.
Yes,
And
you
then
will.
you'll discredit yourself like we all do. We're human, we'll be like, maybe it was this, maybe I was just tired that day. But if you journal it down, and put the date and time and reflect on it, like you'll realize how much information you got. And don't read the history or learn the history till after.
I
And if
agree.
you do that, you'll see how much you picked up on and how that information came into you before you went into knowing the history on it. So there's no way you could have known it other than your senses.
That's right. I got to tell you, people ask me, what's your favorite tool to use when you do investigations? And everybody goes, oh, it's gotta be the Ouija board. It's not, you guys. It's me. I am
Mm-hmm.
the walking Ouija board. You've heard me say that before on this show
Yep.
because I do exactly what Jessica's telling us to do right now. I check in with myself. What am I feeling in my body? Right now, that's my baseline. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a whole lot of pains in my body. Thank goodness I
That
don't.
must be nice.
Yeah, you're right. It is. It feels really pretty good, actually. But some days I might have a headache or a stomach ache or something else. You have that. But I could just like right now, I can check in, and I know what's me. I can feel that. You can even try it right now. Just check in. What are you feeling or sensing? What do you notice about your body? And I can go in and I can even scan it. I like to visualize, and I actually scan my body and see if I see something in there like a color or a feeling or a sound or something. And I'll do that. And then that's me. That's what I walk into a situation with. And anything beyond that is something that's being sparked, as she mentioned, coming from outside. Maybe it's other people picking up on their feelings, or it's the paranormal stuff. So when we go to Tombstone, I got to talk about Tombstone again because I just love Tombstone. I will be using that tool, and I know you will be too. We'll be using that a
Yep.
lot.
Yeah, that's what's interesting is like when I first took your when we did an online event during COVID, we were doing all
Oh
these
yeah,
online events.
yep, yep.
I was like, holy crap, it's so cool. Like, because she teaches so much like me. We have a lot in common, which we talked about in our first show, like just a lot of
Oh
weird
my God, we have it's.
synchronicities.
You go back.
Living in the same place,
I'll put
like
the
at the
link below to
same
that show,
time.
you guys, if you've not seen her before on here. We have so
Yeah,
many connections. It's
it's really nuts.
woo. It's
So it
cool.
was really cool, like watching her teach. I was like, that's what I teach, but it's cool because she like has the piece with the boards, and
Mhm.
teaching you how to connect correctly and use that tool. And it's really awesome. It's
Yeah,
really,
because you guys, when you use the board, I'm gonna what's the word I'm trying to think of? I'm going to dispel some of your own fears about the board because
Mhm.
everybody thinks the board is doing it. It has nothing to do with the board. It's you. You're the channeler. You're the user
Yep.
of the board. You're the operator. So all we are doing when we use the board is just a theatrics, a display of your channeling abilities. Because now, you guys, when I take the board away, and I do readings and stuff. When I take the board away, I'm not using the board. I'm getting the readings, it's coming through, and I'm just giving what I'm getting, kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
that's channeling. It's channeling. So,
And that's how we were like taught the
yep,
information. Like you can learn so much from, like, we kind of bring you the tools. We tell you, hey, here's how we connected A, B, and C, but your team has you too. All of us have ones on the other side that guide us. So
yes,
it's like we teach you those tools, and all it's about is like opening up and hearing their voice louder, no matter what tool you're using or what you're learning, like your mediumship or psychic abilities. If it's just your body or you're using a tool, it's about honoring that and connecting that even more. And that's what is so cool is like the more I learned about her and watched how she teaches, I'm like, that's how I teach. And we both just sit and we learn from the other side. Like they
that's
give
right.
us these lessons, and it's just cool to see it come together. So
And I
yeah,
think
it's
you really something really important is writing it down. That's critical because it's like acknowledging to the spirits too that you're getting their information. You're acknowledging it to yourself, to them. You're making it worthwhile, and you're saying,
mhm.
thank you, or I appreciate this, and you put it away. You come back to it, which was what I do at the sessions, you guys. When I use
Yes.
the board, I write everything down, and you've heard me do it, you've seen me do it, and heard me do it, and all this stuff. But that's so critical, is that piece, so you could acknowledge and appreciate what you're getting. And that just helps you develop that much more and
It makes
faster.
me think of God, I can't think of the name of the movie. I always like I'm poopy with names. With Robin Williams, where his wife died. Wasn't it his wife that died? Oh my gosh, it's killing me.
What was
But
the movie
there's this
about? I mean, was it about, well, just
his wife dies, and like he goes through trying to find her, and like I don't know. I just saw it so
sounds
long
like
ago.
an old movie. I don't know.
It is an old movie.
Okay.
But there's this one part where his wife dies and he swears he's hearing her and he's writing
Oh,
out. Do you remember this? He's like,
this
it's
is
such
just coming
a
back
powerful
now.
point.
She's automatic
He's
writing, right?
writing it out and
Yep.
she can see it. And she's like getting happy, like he's hearing me. And then he ends up like, I think he crumbles it up, like he thinks it's just his mind.
Making it up.
That
Yeah.
is exactly how it is when you're connecting with them. Like, and I
Yeah.
teach my students that with automatic writing, same thing. If you start getting words that just drop in your mind,
Yep.
automatic writing is not where they come in so strong and it fully takes over your handwriting every single time. That does
That
happen,
does happen, but
and
not
it
every
can
time. Yeah.
happen, but it starts off where you got to listen to that voice and
Yeah.
just trust it. Don't think about, even if you misspell a word, keep going with what's coming in. Yeah. So like that's exactly what I was thinking of. It gives them validation. It's like, yay. And then they get more excited, and
Mhm.
you'll feel that. You'll feel like, okay, I'm getting excited and I don't know why. Like you'll feel them being like, yay,
Yeah.
they're getting it. And then they do more. The more you work with it, like they say it's a muscle, but the more you work with it and they know you're receiving it, you're hearing it, all that, they're going to keep going in that area.
That's right. The connection's there. Yeah. When I work with the guides and I hear them, even I always hear them. It's back here. I always point back here and I feel them coming through. And then I also, I can hear them and feel them. And then they, I come through on the board with them, or I do it when I do my readings. They just come through and I just speak what I'm hearing them, but they're dropping in information. And it's never been like, Karen, we got this to tell you. Okay, I'm whispering in your ear right now. Okay, but although I gotta say that has happened before. I one
Mm-hmm.
time, get this though, this is really a cool story. I had this ring. It was a really cool ring, and I love my silver jewelry, from Native American jewelry. And I had this one ring my brother had given me, and I couldn't find it for the life of me. And I was so bummed. It's like, oh, Eric loves this ring, and he gave it to me, and I really like it. And it was big. I swear it on my thumb. And I was looking for it for like days, and it became weeks, and I was like, couldn't find it. And all of a sudden I heard a beautiful voice. I couldn't tell you if it was male or female. I don't know. It was just a beautiful voice that said, "The ring is behind the door." And literally, you guys, the sound came from back here and nobody's in the room, but I felt it come into me, and it just said that so loud and clear. It was like out here, not just in my head. I take the door, open it, and sure enough, it was tucked kind of by the little baseboard there. Right there was the ring.
Wow.
And I had looked back there before, you guys. Okay. But there it was. And I
Yeah, that's
asked,
one weird thing we always have happen where stuff moves. It's like, I swear I looked there.
and I
it
did
is.
look there. See, and I said to the guys, I said, well, who was that voice? They said, that was the universe speaking to you. That was source. Because you wanted
Yeah.
that ring so badly. So I will get it like that sometimes. And when I get readings, I'll get pictures and images and words, and I'll hear phrases. And then I say, and then sometimes I get things that are like a poem, and I just say what I get.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? You just say
And they
what you
use
get.
words you don't use, like,
Oh,
it's like,
I'm having to look the word up.
sucked at vocabulary. I sucked at English. It, like, I have like learning disabilities, speech disability. I had to take resource classes. So they'll use these big, profound words. And I'm like, I don't speak like that. And then,
Well, did you have to go look the word up though? I had to look the words up.
oh,
then.
yes.
Ah.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll give you like angel names or like ancient names or
Oh,
ancient
right.
cities. Like, you get crazy stuff, and it's so cool. Like, so always trust it. Even in, like, it's so funny. I'll have to use, like, this another tip because you'll misspell it so bad sometimes. So I'll have to use like Google Speech or like Siri and like say, the name, or like try and get, and they'll do different
Oh,
languages.
so you can get the spelling of it. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Another thing too is they'll also, like, when you're working with your clairaudience, because that's what that is, the
Yeah.
voice. So sometimes it can be physically outside your ear. Sometimes it can be
Yes.
in your head. And a
Yes.
lot of times it will sound like your own voice because you're used to hearing your own mind.
Yes.
Or yourself, you talk to yourself. So just trust it. No matter what, just trust it. And then before you know it, you'll start to learn the difference between.
Yeah, you start to, it's like a fine discernment. They taught me how to, the guides taught me how to discern from my inner voice to their voice. And their voice does come in my sound, but it's a feeling. I've learned it's the feeling that comes with it. Like, oh, like right now I'm talking about, they're here. They're like, to tell them we're here. They're here.
Yeah.
And when I said, I feel them right here. So it's that's the presence I feel. And then the words start flowing out. So you guys, seriously, there's so many great tips and techniques to learn here. And I'm so glad you're going to be teaching this class that you're going to do in Tombstone as well as the one online. So there's a lot people can learn.
I am so looking forward to this. Like, Tombstone has never let me down. Never.
Yeah.
Even during the day, I've seen spirits there or I've had interactions. It's really, really, it's
I'm
a
gonna
special
see
place.
something.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
That'll be a blast. I mean, I'm open to that. I see it. You guys know I see him every now and then. I know you guys do too. So I welcome that. And just hearing things. Did I tell you this, Jessica? I don't know if I told you guys this. When we were at Bell Grove Plantation, that I think maybe, I don't know. I remember telling MJ this. I didn't tell you this because you were in my room getting ready. Remember that? So I said, go use my room and get ready. She left my room and she was going to go get on stage and speak. And then I go into my room to go get something. And I heard, I'm sorry. And I go, Jessica? And I'm like, where? We're not even in here. And I walk out and there's Richard Stepp sitting there writing his book, his 25,000 book. He said, did Jessica just walk by? He goes, no, she left a while ago. I go, was anybody just right here? He goes, no, just me. And I was like, I'm sorry. It was like a talk whisper. And I'm like, well, who is that? And then I had to go back out. And then later on, I talked to MJ. MJ came to me and said, I saw a woman standing in your doorway of your room. And I go, oh, I heard her. This is what she said. And she said, well, that's the woman who had the house for a while. Forget her name now, but she didn't take very good care of it. The house went into just
oh yeah.
Okay. And so she was saying she was sorry about that.
And that's what's cool is, like, I remember that so well.
You remember that?
Like,
yeah.
I was doing my makeup and we're talking, and like when you're a medium, like they'll start interrupting. When you have a gallery reading coming up, they start just dropping.
They were coming in already.
So she was like, Karen kept saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to leave so you can, like, do your thing and, like, meditate and all that. And I had my music playing, I'm doing my makeup, and I'm like, girl, I'm already good. They're already here. So
yeah, they were talking to her.
Away to me. And before I even got on stage, like, actually MJ, when I walked around, I was like, hey, did your brother this, and this? And she was like, yeah. And then it was when I got on stage, I was getting a few names and details that wasn't like resonating with anyone for a bit. And then MJ was like, yeah, that's my brother again.
Yes.
You know? So like if you guys are ever in a gallery reading, for one, always speak up, but realize like as a medium, you're going to pick up on things in locations too. So like that was another thing that happened. I kept getting names, and then the owner of the inn now said, oh, I know what you were getting. You were getting this person and that person. You
Yep.
described their personality, their job. And I'm sitting there waiting on the crowd, like, hello, anybody? Okay, next one, next one, you know? So it was really cool how
They were
like,
coming in like that, rapid fire.
yeah.
And I think that stirred it up in the room, because I went in there right after you were just in there.
Yep.
And that I think that's what stirred it up. And she's like,
She's
oh,
like, this one can hear me too.
she's like, okay, this chick's gonna listen to me as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
She
okay,
can
I
see
think
that
they're
circus out here,
I
lady.
think
You
you're
need to
wanted
listen to me.
downstairs to come through that medium over there. I'm not on stage just right now. You know, it
Yeah.
was super fun, super fun. So
It
I
was.
love the activity like that. And I gotta say, I think every time we've been together, there's been some really cool activity, hasn't there?
Yeah, it is.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it is. Even like when we were like in between events, remember, like
yes.
we were both seeing stuff in the trees, and we
Oh,
both like were looking at the trees at Bell Grove, and I'm like, "Do you see that?" And it was daytime,
so
and
many
I was like, "Man,
like
there's spirits all over the place
scary
here."
energy, lot of energies there.
Yeah,
It was just, oh, crazy. It was so awesome. So I'm
it is.
expecting Tombstone's probably going to be like that because it's super active. So
Yeah,
this is going to be a blast. I can't
it
wait.
is. So looking forward to it. We always have a good time.
We do. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a joy having you. As always, I like to laugh and have fun with you and goof off a little bit. And of course, I wore my hat.
Whoop, whoop. Oh, you did do your background. Like she cracked me up, guys, when I hopped on
Okay,
camera.
I'm going to show you guys
He
real
was all
quickly.
ready for Tombstone.
Yeah, so when she walked in, you know how you can do little settings behind you?
It gave me such a good laugh.
Yeah, she wasn't expecting it because I have, of course, my
She
hat
was
on.
cowboyed
Here we
up
go.
with her. Whoop, whoop.
Tombstone, guys. Yeah, so we'll sign off on this note then, right? Well, thank you so much, Jessica. I will see you in
Thank
Tombstone.
you, guys.
And you guys, thank you for joining us here again for another edition of Creative Visions TV. I hope you come on out to Tombstone, to Arizona, and come see us. And if not, take some courses from Jessica. She's really good at what she does, as you can tell. Until next time, this is Karen Dahlman. That's Jessica Potter, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.